Hi everybody, Sam White here, founder at Shakespeare in Detroit. I hope you all are doing amazing. Thank you for stopping by Shakespeare in Detroit's YouTube channel. I'm so excited that you're here. And if you haven't already, you want to make sure that you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any digital content coming from your favorite classical theater right here in the city of Detroit, Shakespeare in Detroit. I also wanted to ask you all to consider giving to Shakespeare in Detroit on December 3rd, which is when Giving Tuesday happens in 2024. That's right, every year, nonprofits around the globe raise funds to sustain their missions and to continue their work. And we're one of those amazing nonprofits. And we're hoping that you'll choose us on Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024. Again, that's Giving Tuesday to help support Shakespeare in Detroit moving into 2025. So what would the $25,000 go to? Well, we'd like Shakespeare in Detroit needs to hire a producing fellow. That's right, a producing fellow. What is a producing fellow? Well, that person will be sort of like an apprentice. That person will work with me to help plan, sustain, and move the organization forward. One of the things that Shakespeare in Detroit is really passionate about, one of the things that I'm very, very passionate about is cultivating women and people of color in leadership in the arts community. And so what better way to do that than working side by side with what we're calling a producing fellow? What does it mean to produce in theater? Well, that means that they'll help with all of the behind the scenes things that happen when you're producing a season. Everything from fundraising to hiring to planning the season, like the shows and the venues that will produce the season in. All of those things are necessary skills to be a successful producer. But like a lot of people who might dream about being theatrical producers or theatrical entrepreneurs, they need that experience. They need their foot in the door. And so I know that there's an amazing candidate out there to come on and be our fellow. We don't want to do an internship because internships are not paid and they're not as intensive, and the access is much different than what this producing fellowship would sort of all encompass. So internships are more sort of day-to-day, sort of basic needs being fulfilled with some internships. I shouldn't say all, but this fellowship, the producing fellowship at Shakespeare in Detroit, would be quite intensive, meaning day by day, this person would work side by side with me in 2025 for 6 months to help produce our upcoming season. Now, Shakespeare in Detroit, every summer, for the last 4 years, going on 5 years, 2025 will mark the 5th summer of our youth conservatory. So that's coming up right away. I'll announce which show that is, of course. And the producing fellow would hopefully, if we can raise these funds in time, be a part of that. But beyond that, we're also currently, because I'm already working on it, planning our 2025-26 season, which means that our next professional season, which would take place after the youth performance, after the youth show, which again happens usually around August. So it'll be in August this year as well, August 2025. After that, we'll have our professional programming coming back. And because Shakespeare in Detroit is focused on elevating our professional work, it's imperative that we have an apprentice or rather a fellow. I'm just using language that might sort of explain what this role is that we're hiring for. We need someone to work side by side with me to help make sure that we are, in fact, elevating our professional work. And so that person, again, would be shadowing me, would be delegated projects to help with fundraising, to help with planning, to help with hiring. Because there's so many people to hire when you're working on a show. Stage manager, sometimes an assistant stage manager, lighting designer, a sound designer, set designer, costume designer, a wardrobe assistant, a production director. There's so many people who work behind the scenes. You all see the actors, but behind the curtain, there are so many more people who are helping to make the shows that you all enjoy possible. And so we are fundraising to create a fellowship. And we need $25,000 because we want to be able to pay that person equitably, because they are going to be working over 6 months, working with me quite intensively, because we are still building and growing as a small to mid-sized nonprofit. So it would go to their salary. What's the beautiful thing about paying for this producing fellow's stipend or salary over 6 months? Well, you're helping a young arts leader of color grow their experience in their resume. That resume, after their fellowship with us, they could take and work with us, continue to work with us in some capacity, or they could take that experience, this fellowship, and work anywhere in the world. We're giving them access to a really exciting theater company. Shakespeare in Detroit is very exciting, I think, and a wonderful, not just theater company, but movement in the city of Detroit, because we really have moved the bar and made it really high for other theater companies to follow suit since 2013 when it comes to giving more opportunities to actors and artists of color. We were already there more than 12 years ago doing this work. And so you're supporting not only giving Shakespeare in Detroit behind the scenes support with this producing fellow, which again allows us to have the staff to bring forth these amazing shows to you all, but you're also giving some really special person out there an opportunity to get experience that they may not otherwise have. So we're fundraising to begin this fellowship, which we hope to do every year, again, as we cultivate arts leaders of color and women leaders of color in the arts. This would be the first year. 2025 would be the pilot year of this producing fellowship, and we can't do it without you. So please consider giving and helping make this goal possible. You know, oftentimes, especially, you're probably wondering, well, I'd rather help pay for a show than pay for, someone's fellowship stipend or salary. Well, again, because there's so many more people behind the scenes than the people that you see on stage, there's so much that happens even before actors get involved. You are helping make a show possible because you're providing the fuel, the human resources, the support to ensure that the stage work can happen. And so please consider helping us with these operational costs to make sure that we can elevate our professional programs. And again, don't worry, we're going to continue to offer free programming like our August 2025 youth production, which I'll announce the title pretty soon, along with our exciting director. I'm excited to share with you who that person is. Our audience has been the source of any and all success that we have experienced, because if you remember, and if you've been a long time member of Team Sid, we call our audience Team Sid, you know that we have never really used traditional media. We don't buy ads, we don't buy billboards. We might do that in the future, but we don't really participate in traditional media, not because we don't want to. It's often been sort of a budgetary reason. We'd rather reserve our costs or our funds to pay our artists and our administrators fairly. And so we've always depended on YouTube and our social media platforms to really spread the word about who we are, what we do, why we do it, and how the work that we do helps with the cultural dynamics of our city and uplifting Detroit as a cultural mecca. You know, when we started Shakespeare in Detroit, it was 3.5 weeks after the city filed for bankruptcy. And an amazing group of 14 actors and myself had the audacity to show up at Grand Circus Park and say, hey, we know the city is going through a lot right now, but we believe that this is an important time for us all to really appreciate art and come together as a cultural commons in Grand Circus Park. And we did that. And that was such a pivotal moment, I think, in Detroit's history for many reasons. First of all, the city was going to sell off a lot of the masterpieces in the DIA. So art was experiencing some really difficult things. The art scene in Detroit was experiencing a hard time. And we still, 3.5 weeks after that bankruptcy, we had the audacity to say art matters and we need to come together in this time. And 500 people showed up at Grand Circus Park. Thank you to all of you out there who were there, who may be watching this. And so the people, the community has always been at the center of our success. Being able to talk to you all through this YouTube channel has been a center of our success. Word of mouth has been a center of our success. And when we've said that we needed something to move the needle, you all have been so generous and helped us to do that. From our Patreon members who give $1, $5, $10, $20 or more every month to help us pay our subsidized rent at our permanent residency at Marygrove, to the people who share our YouTube channel link to the folks who sign up for our newsletter, to the people who've given to our Kickstarters or our Indiegogos and other crowdfunding sources, the people who give directly to our website. All of you have brought us here today. And now we're saying we want to take all of that wonderful, amazing success that we've had for more than a decade and elevate into the future. And that requires more team members. And not just having a team member come just to be somebody else on the team, somebody who we can train and cultivate and nurture and create an ecosystem of arts leadership of color and women and leadership in the arts in Detroit. And, you know, we need more of that. Why? Because we need different voices, different opinions, different perspectives, different ideas, different energies, especially in the arts. So please consider giving so that we can make this producing fellowship possible for some wonderful individual out there. And it all helps. It all adds up. $5, $10, $20, $25, whatever you can spare, it all adds up to making this necessity for the organization possible. And if you want to take your support and make it monthly support more than one time, you want to give monthly, you can always do that by joining our membership program on Patreon by going to patreon.com/ShakesInTheD. Not only are you helping sustain Shakespeare in Detroit's programs by giving us predictable income every month, you're also going to get insider news, exclusive details about our upcoming season, behind the scenes access, perks, there's contests, and so much more. So again, if you're interested in giving more than just one time or beyond one time, please consider giving to patreon.com/ShakesInTheD. It's been amazing to check in with you all. I'm looking forward to having an amazing ramp up to Giving Tuesday again on Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024. Let's keep the conversation going, and I'll see you again soon here on YouTube. Thanks, everybody. Talk soon. Bye.